Things just took a major turn for the Phoenix Suns as we have multiple trade updates revolving around the two superstars in Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, as a new report has recently dropped and detailed some new information regarding these two stars and their interest from a specific team. So we're going to dive in and get into all of that and explore what Brian Gregory has up for his sleeve for this free agency and how this will affect the Phoenix Suns off season. We'll be getting into all of that and more on this episode of Suns Digest. I am Bruce Veliz, and you guys have been absolutely fantastic showing your love and support on the channel over these last couple weeks for Ben and I, which has been super appreciative. But I do want to let you guys know that roughly 65% of you guys who watch these videos are not subscribed. So if you want to get the daily updates revolving around this team with all the drama ensuing this offseason, this is the place for you. So make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date. But without further ado, we're going to dive in and we're going to get into this video at hand today. So make sure to grab that snack and let's get into it. As like I said, we have multiple trade updates revolving around this Phoenix Suns team that recently just dropped today. And like I mentioned, they're on the two superstars in Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. And this is some big news that we have to dive into. And this report was dropped from Sam Amick of The Athletic today, where he dove into the Rockets offseason with intel on all of their star player scenarios that might be in play if they do take a swing. And he said yes, including that Giannis guy. And this was done alongside Kelly Iko, who is a fantastic Houston Rockets reporter. So shout out to Sam Amick and Kelly Iko for getting all these details and getting all the news out on this Houston Rockets team, as they have been a topic of discussion after falling out of the playoffs. But with this update, we do see that the Rockets might be interested in making some moves, but maybe not the moves that we all were inclined to think so. The prospect of landing players of that ilk presents a fork in the road moment for the Rockets, who are in prime position to upgrade their roster with a bona fide star because of the draft picks and young talent that they've collected in the recent years. But will they take this big swing, one that could cost them a young star or more, or take the patient approach and resist the temptation to accelerate their contending timeline? With Durant being a widely seen and most attainable of that group, he is known to be very interested in playing for Houston. Team sources said the Rockets still have significant reservations about that possible partnership, in large part due to Durant's age at 36. He would be out of sync with their younger timeline, and it's worth noting that previous talks between the two teams, between Durant and the Suns, were all initiated by the Suns, and that's a huge detail right there at the end, right? Obviously, the Phoenix Suns are interested in trading with the Houston Rockets because they want those pickbacks, regardless if it's this pick in this year's draft, which we'll find out tonight at the draft lottery on where that falls, or the 27 pick or the 2029 pick. This team wants to be able to recoup some of their draft capital, right? To be able to kind of restructure this team and restructure the direction that Brian Gregory has been talking about with this alignment, identity, and culture. But with failing to do a Durant trade with the Rockets, this causes massive complications for the Phoenix Suns in doing a trade, right? Because this might take the Rockets off that landing spot, and even if the Rockets are a landing spot, they may offer less than what we think for a player in Kevin Durant. Now, if we want to look at Durant's stats for the season, he is well representative of someone trading multiple young players and, draft picks for. Even at his old age of 36, you want to say he's averaging 27 points on the season, 6 rebounds, 4.2 assists, 1.2 blocks, and almost a steal per game, while shooting 53% from the field and 43% from three. We saw Durant this season for the Phoenix Suns put on a fantastic show, and I arguably would have think that if he qualified for the All-NBA teams, he should have been on All-NBA second team with how he performed this season in a disastrous time in Phoenix, dealing with all their injuries, dealing with the lineup changes, dealing with Coach Budenholzer, dealing with this bad roster. This Suns team with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker had some bright moments, and Durant was definitely a key moment revolving around that. But no, we don't have updates just on Kevin Durant. We also have updates on Devin Booker as well, as he was mentioned in this article following Kevin Durant. We all know the Rockets have previously held serious interest in Suns' Devin Booker, but team sources are now saying that is no longer the case as well, as not only did the team officials still have faith in a guy in Jalen Green, who's 5 years younger than Booker and $66 million cheaper over the next 3 seasons, but also that Booker's struggles last season shifted the thinking on this front. As for Williamson, who spent the majority of his first to 6-8 seasons falling short of expectations while experiencing health issues along the way. Team sources said the Rockets see him as too risky. And this is talking about Zion, obviously, at the end, but talking about Devin Booker, they feel that a guy in Jalen Green can be what Devin Booker is for this team, and feel like this season, Devin Booker did take a little bit of a step back. Now, if we want to look at Booker's stats on the season this year, at 28 years old of age, he did not have his most efficient scoring season, as he only averaged 26 points, but 4.1 rebounds and 7.1 assists. Just goes to show you how much playmaking Book was in effect this season. He shot 46 from the field, 33% from three-point range, and like I mentioned, a lot of Suns fans were frustrated on Booker's production, and the Rockets seem to be a little frustrated as well, as that's why they're not interested in as Devin Booker. But I think that's a little bit of a hoax, personally. I think that if Houston knew Devin Booker was available and they could get Devin Booker, that it would be no question. They wouldn't care about his age limit. They wouldn't care about his stagnated play, because a guy like Devin Booker, if you look in this playoff scenario, would have been the A1 type of guy to really help this Rockets team offensively, to really get them over that hump to match the Golden State Warriors in buckets. And that's a type of player they exactly need. So I don't really buy that regarding around Devin Booker. We all do know with this Suns team that change will have to come, right? As the roster is very expensive. They're going to want to drop below that first apron. They have a ton of key free agents. They only have 7 guys under roster at this moment, still being above the second apron. So changes will be coming to this team regardless if it's players getting waived, if they're not guaranteed deals, and Cody Martin, Nick Richards, or Vasilij Micic off his team deal. If players get traded, like a Grayson Allen, a Royce O'Neal, a Bradley Beal, a Kevin Durant, potentially even a Devin Booker, or many, many more things for this Phoenix Suns team. But ultimately, it leaves us in the thought of question, right? So I want to know your thoughts down below in the comment section. But as we get to the next part, we're going to kind of dive into what this means for the Suns, right? As we all know, both of these players are gaining trade interest, and even though one of them is said not to be traded from this Phoenix Suns roster, as he wants to stay in Phoenix and is going to be staying here long term, the other one could be a little bit different, right? If we want to look at Devin Booker, we all know he wants to remain in Phoenix. They want to lock him up on that 2-year extension, and Matt Ishbia wants to build a championship around him. He wants to stay in Phoenix. I don't think he's going to be traded. I think that Houston realized that Devin Booker is not going to get moved. Phoenix said that this is not going to happen, and they kind of just told a different story to kind of get a good rap on themselves. But ultimately, I do not feel that Devin Booker has taken a step back, and I do feel like Devin Booker can still be that key impact player for this Phoenix Suns team, even if he's not that number 1 dog, right? Top 5, top 10 player in the league. He can still be that number 1 guy for this team on a winning roster. But with Durant here, the question still remains, obviously. Is he still on a 1-year deal? Still uncertain what the Phoenix Suns want to do with him and if he even will be returning. Personally, I would love to see Kevin Durant back. I want to see this team continue to stick their ground, but as we've kind of heard from last season and into this season, that's most likely not going to be the case. So with Durant, I do expect them to kind of talk back to the Rockets, even though the Rockets team aren't interested in now, as even though they say they're not interested in his age at age 36, they have plenty of players on their roster that aren't in their timeline, right? Look at guys like Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks, Steven Adams, for example, right? They have these veteran type guys, and I wouldn't be shocked if Houston did make that move, if not this off season, maybe in the middle of the season, to really take that leap if they have a little bit of a stagnant start to the season. And I think they'll revisit some Durant trades, because I do believe that he does fit in with the Rockets. But if not, if the Rockets are turning their heads away from Durant, what does that mean for Kevin Durant, right? There are plenty of other teams that are going to be interested in showing signs in him. We've already heard the rumors of the Heat, the Timberwolves, potentially even the Boston Celtics as some possible destinations, and I think a lot more will grow interested depending on how they flame out in the playoffs this season, or if not, how some of these teams look at the end of the year after winning a championship. If a team feels that they added Kevin Durant, they could take him over that hump, I don't see why they would be scared to make that move. So some new updates revolving around these two superstars just broken down today. So I want to know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Do you want to see Durant stay? Do you want to see Booker stay? I know a lot of fans want to see Booker stay, but some want him to be traded. What are your thoughts on all of this news revolving around the Houston Rockets, as the Suns may not have to pivot and look at another team to engage in a trade talk for Kevin Durant, and all of that jazz revolving around this team? Like I said, if you're interested, make sure to hit the like, make sure to hit the subscribe button, as we have the daily Phoenix Suns news coming up for you guys here on this channel. We have the weekly live streams as well on Thursdays. So if you want to stay up to date on everything, this is the spot for you. Once again, I'm Bruce Veliz. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today's episode, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your day, and go Phoenix Suns. Peace out, everyone.